Yes, yeah. Do you know what? Every time Mike's beats on the intro, it
Nah,
just
they're
gets me.
solid.
It
They're
gets me
solid.
in the mood, ready
I'm
to
out here
go.
dancing like, in the background, like.
That's it. That's it. Hello, everyone. Welcome into another Club Zone show. Prem Heads, a new show, but not new faces. The same old face. I say old. I don't want to say old. That's a bit
Don't,
disrespectful.
don't, don't call me old. Don't call me
Not
old.
old. The same beautiful faces. G keeping it G. Double A Sports. G, how are we doing today? Ready to go? Summer roundup.
Feeling good. The sun's out. It's blazing. I'm feeling nice today. Can't wait to get into the shows.
I can't wait to get going. Double A, how are you today? The sun's shining in the background.
Mm.
Looking good down there in London.
Yeah, you got that light over there, bro. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's just a nice view, man, from a balcony. So
Oh, it's
get
all
the
right for some from the balcony, like lording it up in his castle. It's all right for some minute, you know what I mean? So we're going to run this show, Prem Heads, every week. I'm going to tell everyone what it's about because it's the first ever episode of Prem Heads. We love football. We love Liverpool, but we love football. So it's kind of a mix of both. We're going to cover the Premier League. We're going to give you top 10s of the week. We're going to give you starting 11s of the week and touch a little bit on fantasy football. But the season's not started yet. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about the Premier League. So summer signings is what we're going to talk about today. It's interesting so far. Liverpool, G, they've done not bad business so far. Would you like to see a little bit more business done from Liverpool?
Yeah, I think we've just got a couple of areas that might need a bit of an addition to be honest with you. But I'm hoping. I mean, it's only been like 11, 12 days since the transfer window opened, so we've got time. We've got time to improve.
Double A, which team do you think are going to be like the biggest movers in this transfer window? Can you see one team transforming the way they look? Obviously, Newcastle have the money, but then you've got Man City. Which team do you think might make the most business this summer?
At the moment, I'm going to say it's going to be out of Newcastle, Tottenham, and Arsenal. I'm not quite sure who. I would have said at the beginning Newcastle, but Arsenal seem to be linked with like
everyone,
about 10 players every single day, 10 different players. Tottenham actually are buying quite a few players. Actually, they've done the most work so far, and then obviously Newcastle have done a little bit. I expect them to do more with the money that they've got anyway. And I think with Newcastle, because of the restrictions on financial fair play, they can't just spend money willy-nilly as like Man City and Chelsea used to do back in the day before they came up to prominence. So they have to balance the books a bit, get rid of players and pull them in. But I still expect them to do over the window do quite a lot.
Do you know what I kind of want? I wish financial fair play wasn't a thing because I kind of want to see Newcastle splash the cash. I want to see them bring someone in, just like when Man City bought Robinho and we were all like, Robinho? Man City? I want to see something like that. But talking about the transfers, let's do a transfer roundup. So what we're going to do in this part of the show, we're going to run through the teams. We're going to start with the first half of the Premier League. I'm going to highlight some teams. So as you can see, we've got some new teams in the league. Fulham coming up, G. Look at G's little avatar up there. I like it, G. It looks, guys, good likeness, that, G. That's a good likeness.
We are literally similar. I'm laughing
at
the comment that I just saw in the
similar. I think your avatar might have better ball control than you, though. I'm just saying.
They haven't seen my touches, really. They haven't seen my touches.
We've got teams coming up into the Premier League. So on this list here, we see Fulham. Fulham have been up and down. They've yo-yoed a little bit. Do you think Fulham might be a team that will stay up this season? Mitrovic, we're looking at what he can possibly do because he's been banging in the Championship. Do you think he'll come into the Premiership and do the same?
Mitrovic is a funny striker, man. Like, we see what he can do in the Championship. This guy is like one of, if not the best Championship striker of history. How many goals did he get last season? Like, he broke the record that Ivan Toney set the previous season. But when he comes up to the Premier League, I just think Fulham don't set out to play to his strengths when they come up to the Premier League. If they do that, he can finish. And I think with him leading their attack, they could potentially stay up at the bare minimum.
Yeah, I think they could stay up. I want to take a look at a few teams. So I've highlighted here a few teams. We've got Arsenal, AA. We've got Aston Villa, Chelsea, and Leeds. I'm going to run through the transfers in a little second, but out of those teams I've highlighted, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Chelsea, Leeds, which team do you think needs to do the best business in this window?
It's a tough one. For me, it's between Chelsea and Leeds. The reason I say Chelsea is because Chelsea have lost so many players, especially in defence.
Yeah.
And defence is the one place I feel you can't mess around with too much. In any, if you're going to pick like defence, midfield, or attack, defence is the place that when you got too many new players coming in and they don't gel, you're going to make mistakes with like trying to play offside, trying to hold your line, players not understanding how one plays and the other plays. And if it's a mistake and the opposition get through, they're one-on-one with the keeper. And if it's a mistake with the keeper in the defence, then more than often not, it's going to end up a goal. And because Chelsea lost so many defenders in that last window because of partly to do with everything that happened, to do with the sanctions and whatever, and I think some players just didn't want to stay anyway. Yeah, I think they're the ones that it's important.
Yeah, I like that you spoke about defenders, because in a minute I'm going to ask you, with these 4 teams that are on, I've got a little challenge for you and G, and same on the next page, is to choose 2 of these teams and tell me a player you would sign for those teams. So the ideal signing that they could have. So with you saying Chelsea and defenders, it might be interesting to see if you bring a defender in, who you do. Obviously, Lukaku going away to Inter Milan. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to run some of the top deals across the bottom for everybody to have a look at, some of the top deals from the transfer window. But I'm going to run through these clubs. So we've got Arsenal, G. We've got incomings, Matt Turner, Marquinhos, and Fabio Vieira. I'm not going to lie, I don't know any of them. I've not seen any of them play. So it's interesting where Arsenal are doing the shopping, but we'll talk about that in a second. Aston Villa, good business. Felipe Coutinho, they've signed him to a permanent contract. Boubacar Kamara on a free from Marseille, which is a great deal in my opinion. Diego Carlos and Robin Olsen from Roma. Then we've got Chelsea, no one yet, but obviously Lukaku is going back to Inter Milan. That looks likely. And then we've got Leeds. Big spenders so far, Leeds.
Very big spenders.
Brendan Aronson from Salzburg. I think they like shopping at Salzburg, you know. Then they've got Rasmus Christensen and Mark Roja. I think that's how they say it. I'm trying to do the twang.
Roja. I like it.
From Bayern Munich. So, out of those, let's talk about Arsenal. Vieira, 31.5 million. Who is he, G? And what's he going to bring to Arsenal?
Deep line playmaker. I feel that they're bringing him in to potentially, and not 100%, to play alongside someone like a Partey. He's someone who's quite controlled on the ball. He's got a decent eye for a pass. And I feel that what they lack in the middle of the pitch, I'll be honest, he isn't really the player that they need, because I feel like they have a lot of those kind of players in and around the team anyway, and they could actually get someone else to play there. But he's a level up from what they currently have, and that's someone who can get the ball in the middle and is very, very calm, but can also have the eye for a pass, but still collect the ball from the centre backs, move it forward, kind of thing. And I think that's one of the reasons why they've got him in, because I think at the moment they're still stuck with Lokonga, Partey, and Xhaka. Now, Xhaka isn't really that good. Partey is to some time-ish, gets injured quite a lot. And then you've got Lokonga, who's only just come since last season. So he still needs time to kind of grow. And I see him more as a box-to-box. So maybe someone like a Vieira might just be that kind of player who just a bit more calming.
I like that. What G said, the double A in Vieira coming in that position. Was it interesting to you that they've signed that position to start with? When you're looking at, obviously Nketiah's signed a new deal, but you're looking at like their attacking options, and they need a striker. They need someone to lead the line, in my opinion. Vieira coming in when Partey, I feel like, is a solid player. Xhaka's captain potentially with Saka. It's been tossed about a little bit. And then you've got Odegaard. That's central midfield kind of three. And you've got Smith Rowe to throw in the mix as well. I didn't think they needed to strengthen in this area, but I might be wrong. What would you say?
I agree with you 100%. I'm not surprised seeing the way Arsenal do business and the kind of players that they go for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, since Arteta's been there, they got Odegaard. Did they really? All right, I'm not saying Odegaard hasn't brought a little bit extra to their team, but did they really need Odegaard when they had Smith Rowe and they had Ozo out on loan for how long?
Yeah.
They're all kind of the same player to me. All right, I know something's obviously happened with Ozil when they didn't want him there and whatever else, but they had Ozil. I'm sure they had someone else that can play that position as well.
Like a drifting, like a winger slash. It was Cazorla at the time was kind of in that kind of mix.
Because you're going way back.
Yeah.
But
Ozil's played with everyone. That's what I'm talking about. Ozil's literally played with everyone up in there. But
but I would say that. I would say, for me, I would agree with you. I'd say a striker because Nketiah, I think, personally.
Given the number 14,
number 14.
I want to know what Arsenal fans think, because that number, that's worse than giving Naby Keita number 8, in my opinion.
No, 100%.
It is. But you know what it is, I think, with Nketiah? Because we've all known Nketiah said he doesn't want to stay at Arsenal. He's been saying that for so long last season.
Yeah.
And I think they were just so desperate to keep him, they basically just given him what he wants. They're giving him the contract he wants, from the sounds of it. I think he's on like over $100,000 a week or something now, isn't he?
Is he?
Mad,
I think so. Don't quote me on it though, but I saw I heard 140.
Sadio Mane. Do not tell Sadio Mane.
They said 140 the other day. But London players get paid more as well anyway. But still, I think that's too much for him for one. And to give him the number 14, when you ain't there's nothing you really done to justify giving you a legendary number of that stature for that team. But
it's mad. Gee, when you look at Arsenal, do you think they're trying to be Liverpool a little bit? And I want to bring it back to Liverpool because we go out and we're linked with player after player who we know of. But then they go and get a Jota. Yeah. They go and get a Luis Diaz. And we're like, who are these guys? Like Andy Robertson as well. For being, you can rhyme them all off. It's like, who are these guys? But then they come and they turn out to be bangers. But Arsenal seem to do it the other way. It's like they're trying to get who are these guys to surprise us. And then they just turn out to be like free agent material and then end up going out on loan or whatever. So do you think they're trying to copy a blueprint that doesn't suit their club?
Yeah, you got to realize, I would say in Europe, us, maybe RB Leipzig, the Red Bull company, and maybe Borussia Dortmund. There's probably other teams. I was
going to say Dortmund then. Yeah, I agree.
There's probably other teams, but I'll pick those three teams. Yeah, so us, Borussia Dortmund, and Leipzig. We've got the best models in world football. Out of us three, we've got the best model. You got to realize the model that we've got at this current moment, as you said, is we pick up these kind of players. We've got a manager who can develop them into world-class players. And then we can sell them for profit at a later date while still remaining competitive. Everybody in the Premier League has seen what Liverpool can do. So all they're literally trying to do now is just copy that now. The problem is your manager's not good enough. Your club isn't, I feel, isn't big enough to attract those type of players. So you're going to have to do it almost in a roundabout way, if that makes sense. So Arsenal, what they're good at is they have a very, very good academy. They do produce, good young players. The problem they're going to have is your manager isn't really up to that level yet. You probably need a better coach, better manager in order to be able to fulfill those requirements of trying to buy Odegaard and Lokonga, like all of these kind of weird players, but maybe a better coach would be able to get them up to that kind of level. But everyone's just copying the same blueprint. It's funny to watch. It's actually funny.
I think it's the other way around with Arsenal. I think they've got a good coach. I think Arteta's a good coach, but he's
he's a good coach. He's a good coach. Sorry, he's a good coach. I just mean,
I don't think he's a manager. Yeah. He can't. What Klopp does well is he brings the best out of people, whereas Arteta's trying to develop them on the pitch rather than put an arm around them, tell them they're worth it, tell them what they can do, back them a little bit. But you know what? I'm going to turn you into managers, though, and scouts. So I'm going to give you 2 teams each. I'm going to give Double A, I'm going to give you Aston Villa and Chelsea from that list.
He's going to give me Chelsea.
And G, I'm going to give you Arsenal and Leeds. So you can do it either way. What I want you to do, you can either choose a player to sign and why, or you can choose a player to sell and why from your team.
For Arsenal? So if I was an Arsenal...
Yeah, so if you're Arsenal manager, sign a player for Arsenal or sell a player from Arsenal. Same with your other club, Leeds. Double A, you've got Aston Villa and Chelsea. Whilst you're having a little think, I'm going to talk a little bit about Aston Villa. So Aston Villa, Stevie G, he's been backed. Stevie G is being backed, and it's good to see. But I'm worried because, Stevie, if you come to Liverpool, you're not going to get backed as much as you've been backed at Aston Villa. So you better make something happen this season. Otherwise, it might not happen. Now, Coutinho, that's a great signing just for keeping the players professional, someone to aspire to. You need that star player in your team. That's a good sign. We needed to keep him.
One thing, are we being realistic with this?
Yeah, it's like you can't go Mbappe to Aston Villa. You've got to
I know that's what Double A was thinking.
Someone who would suit their team.
Who have I got? I've got Chelsea and Villa, yeah? Or have I got Chelsea and Leeds? I can't remember.
You've got Villa and Chelsea, yeah. You've got Villa and Chelsea. But like I said, Villa again, bringing Carlos in, that's another big name to bring in from Sevilla, touted with other clubs. I know Man City were looking at him a few years ago when they got Diaz. And Arsenal. So that's a great signing for Villa. Before Double A chooses G, do you think Aston Villa this season should be challenging for European places?
Yeah, I think Gerrard knows. I think he understands, especially with the amount of investment that the board. Is their owner rich? I don't get it. Like where they're getting this money from. Like,
who is it? Is it Randy Lerner? Is that Randy Lerner?
I love the accent, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's because they've got money or whatever it is, or maybe the owner is just that, just wants to invest in the team. But Gerrard understands it's Europa Conference League is the bare minimum that they have to achieve. You can't go into a season with the players that they've got and tell me that you finished anything below 7th, 8th. That sounds crazy because you've still got Man United, Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, all these other Leicester, West Ham, all these other teams. But if I'm being honest, Villa got to look at it and say, we need to be top of that pile. They have to be top of it. Otherwise, it's kind of a failure from Gerrard, if I'm being honest.
I agree. And I think I'll say it, I think he's got away with it this season just because Frank Lampard has been so bad. Stevie G's got away with it. He's had some good performances. You can see a bit of progression, but this season he's got to cement that. He's got to.
100.
So, Double A talking about cement that, or should we call you Randy Lerner? Because you've got the helm of Aston Villa. You can sign anyone, you can sell anyone. What are you going to go for?
I'd sign Lamptey. That was a shit accent. I'd sign
That is getting clipped tomorrow. It's a very good accent. I love it. Lamptey.
Yeah, Lamptey. Right back.
Why would you bring in Lamptey then for Villa?
Because I would actually have brought in a central defender, to be honest, but they've done that.
They've done that, yeah.
I think with them getting the dude from Everton at Lepidine, I think he's good, and I think they need someone stronger at right back. And realistically of the players, I think they can get. I think Lamptey is someone they can get. I think attacking wise, what he can bring to them, if he can get back to that form he was showing a couple of seasons ago, that would be really good for Villa the way they play. Yeah. And I think defensively he looks pretty sound as well. So
I like that.
I was going to go for a striker, but I like Ings, and I think they should play Ings central more. So yeah, Lamptey.
It's interesting you said Danny Ings, because Danny Ings can score goals, but I feel like Watkins is the star boy at Aston Villa, and that's why Ings isn't getting a show. I don't think Stevie G wants to play two up front, so it's like, do I go with what everybody wants, or do I go with Ings? I think Stevie G prefers Danny Ings, you know, than Ollie
Yeah.
Watkins, just from what I've seen. But Lamptey, great shout. On the right, bombing forward, they like to operate from the wings. Dina, Lamptey, pinging crosses in. Ollie Watkins, good physically, good in the air. I like that. That's a good shout, Randy Lerner. We'll come back to you for your Chelsea pick. G, who are you going with for? I'll let you choose Arsenal or Leeds, whoever you want.
It's to be honest, I'll go with we'll start with Leeds. I think Leeds should actually try and Double A kind of said it there about Aston Villa. I think Leeds need a striker. They really, really need a striker. We saw last season without Patrick Bamford. Oh my days, that team could not hit a barn door. It was embarrassing after a while.
That's why I don't understand why everyone's raving about Rafinha. Like for me, it's like I get he's got glimpses, but for these top teams to be linked, like he should be turning up the Leeds. Exactly.
Like Arsenal are linked with him. I said Arsenal should stay away, in my personal opinion, from someone like Rafinha, but we'll get into them in a minute. But I would say I actually was going to sign Danny Ings or Ollie Watkins for Leeds United, to be honest. I think get one of those two, whoever's not, favoured between Gerrard, take whichever one, whichever you. So I'll go with Ollie Watkins.
Ollie Watkins, Leeds United. Oh, interesting. I don't rate Ollie Watkins like that. I'm not going to lie.
I don't rate him. I don't. But it was the only one I
could. I'm surprised what you're saying.
Yeah. I would go with maybe Leeds. You're looking at the Watford guy. You try and get the Watford guy. Try and get Dennis in there, Emmanuel Dennis.
No, but Dennis isn't. He's not proven. At least Watkins and Ings are both proven at this level. Yeah. Whereas Dennis is, not to say he's not good. I think Dennis is all right, but they need a proper, this guy's going to come in and literally score goals for us. I don't need a guy who's going to take 10 games to get into his stride. I need someone to come in now and score. So I'd go with Watkins or...
They missed the trick. Divock Origi, they missed the trick. Takumi Minamino, look at Double A's face. Let's go then, Double A. Chelsea. Who are you signing or who are you selling?
All right, for Chelsea... Although I said everything I said about defenders, Chelsea has to be a striker because Chelsea, no matter what happens with them this season in their defense, they're going to create a lot of chances, and they just haven't got really someone that can consistently put someone in the net, put the ball in the net. And with the money that Chelsea have got and the players that are around, that's available or that want to leave, has to be Lewandowski. Has to be, like it's a no-brainer.
That's a good match, to be honest. I think Lewandowski will work well in that system because he does like to drop a little bit deeper than Lukaku did. He doesn't mind being... I think Lukaku thinks he's this kind of running behind player who's got skills, whereas Lukaku, bro, you're a hold-up player. Do you know what I mean? And Lewandowski realizes that. So I think he would fit well in that team.
It doesn't even matter, like, in that sense. Lukaku... Even in the matches, or apart from the 2-touch match, but all the other matches he plays, the guy got chances. We have to say he did get opportunities to score. He just didn't take them a lot of the time. And Lewandowski will take a lot of those chances. And even if he takes half, he's going to score a lot of goals anyway. So, and that's what he is. He's a clinical finisher. So,
no, I agree.
Like,
I agree.
Even if he doesn't necessarily gel with how they play, which I think he would do anyway. I just think give him the chances that you gave Lukaku, whether he fits in the system or not, he's gonna score quite a few goals. So and that's what they need.
So Double A's just bought Chelsea, and he's like, it doesn't matter. We're just going to outscore teams. Forget defense. We'll put Jorginho at the back with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and then we'll score loads of goals.
But it's one player, isn't it? If it's one player to make the difference, Rudiger, I can't buy a whole defense.
Yeah. So Rudiger and Christensen leaving. I think Thiago Silva has still got another good season in him. You look at Azpi. Azpilicueta just gets better, I think, with age. I think we could see. Do you not think he gets better with age?
Not last season. No.
Not last season. I think last season
he made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Remember the Everton game?
Do you think that's because he's not playing in his natural position? He was all over everywhere last season. He was right back, then centre back. I'm sure he played left back at one point.
But he's kind of been like that for a few seasons, and he was never as bad as last season. I think his level just dropped. And what you said about Thiago Silva, he could have another good season, but his level might just drop. Because remember, he's an old guy as well.
Yeah.
And
How
sometimes
old is he?
you can't predict
36?
it with these guys.
36,
It's like
37, that's it.
they play well, and then all of a sudden, their age just like they just look old and slow, and they just can't recover. Remember Ferdinand? He was looking good at like when he was older, and then he was looking like he's not going to lose his pace. And then that one season, he just lost his pace. Everyone was burning him. Torres was burning him. Bellamy was burning him. He was just getting burned by everyone.
Bellamy, though. I love that we're shouting out
that
Bellamy.
burn was crazy. That burn
I
was
love
crazy.
it. Let's go then to Arsenal. Let's go to Arsenal. We've got Bogdan in the building. Nice to see you over here,
What
Bogdan.
up, Bogdan?
Original Plot Zone follower from day one. We've got Azan as well in the comments too. But Bogdan's saying Arteta's an average manager for average teams. So, G, you've got to turn Arteta now into a top-class manager with a top-class team with just one signing. Can it be done? Who are you bringing in, G?
I'll probably bring in Martinez from Inter Milan. I feel they need. He's obtainable. I feel like he would come to Arsenal. Can't see why he wouldn't. And he'd cost a lot of money. He ain't going to be cheap. But they are lacking a quality striker.
G's ditched us. He's had enough. G doesn't want to know. He's like, nah, I'm done. So let's jump over here to this. He'll be back in a minute. Don't worry about that. G will be back. So let's jump into this. We'll move on a little bit and then we'll go back for G when he comes back. He was talking about Lautaro Martinez then, double A. I don't think Martinez, I think they need a solid central striker. I feel like Lewandowski, if he would go to Arsenal, would fit for them because they need somebody who just knows how to stay in the middle, score goals. I feel like Lacazette was doing that at a point, but then all of a sudden they've just started playing Nketiah.
I agree. I just don't think Lewandowski's realistic for them. Yeah. That's the only thing. But I don't think Martinez is realistic for them either, to be honest. Martinez, he's been playing Champions League football since he's been at Inter. Like, he's won the Scudetto. They just missed. They came second last season. I'll probably say at the moment, they're probably favourites, depending on what Juventus do. Yeah. Juventus, I think, will probably push them closer. But I think it's out of those two teams, really, at the moment, to see who wins the Italian league. So why is he going to go to Arsenal? I can't see that. I think that's so unrealistic, to be honest. But
it is true, actually, when you look at it. With Lukaku going back as well, they formed up a fight.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, yeah, you don't go, I don't want the Scudetto, I want to go to Arsenal and finish fifth. Nah.
And those two had such a good partnership as well.
Yeah, that's it.
He's getting his partner back when he probably had his best season. Yeah, why is he going? He's going to go Arsenal?
Nah.
To try to get into the Champions, to try and get into fourth spot, maybe third at best.
Not a chance, Martinez. Let's look at the other half of the table then. We look at Leicester, Liverpool, City, Man United, Newcastle. Who's under there? I do not know. Southampton, Tottenham, West Ham, and Wolves. Out of those teams, who do you think will have the best season outside of Liverpool and Man City?
I'm going to. It's a tougher one because I think
I'm thinking that's it's Nottingham Forest underneath my picture.
All right, well, I wouldn't go for them anyway, if I'm honest. But of this side, there's a lot more promise. Yeah. I would say I'm going to go for Newcastle, but I think Spurs is probably more the obvious choice. But I'm going to go for Newcastle.
Okay. Jay, I've just asked Double A, out of the teams here, outside of Liverpool and Man City, which team do you think is going to have the best season?
Spurs.
There are a lot of teams if we look in this half of the draw. Let me run through some of the signings. So if we look at these teams, I've highlighted this section. I've highlighted Liverpool, City, Man United, Newcastle, Tottenham, and West Ham. Now, if we look at Liverpool, we know what Liverpool have done. Darwin Núñez, club record fee. Calvin Ramsey, Fabio Carvalho coming in. Man City have been linked to so many players, but they've only brought Erling Haaland in so far. Then we've got Man United, nobody but Pogba out. I want to talk about Pogba in a second. Newcastle, they've brought in Matt Target, who was there anyway, but they've secured that one. They're looking at so many different names. Tottenham, big spenders. Bissouma, Perisic, Forster, and Keeley from St. Pat's. I feel sorry for Keeley being in and amongst that list because no one's ever going to remember your name. And then the last one, West Ham United, bringing in Naif Aguiar. Now, that's an interesting one from West Ham because spending 31.5 million, G, on a defensive player, I feel like West Ham need an attacker. We've been saying this for seasons. Why are you not spending to bring in a striker?
The problem is with West Ham is they're not good with money. They don't know how to spend it. That's their issue. So most bar Payet, when they got him in, have not really turned out to be that good in terms of their big money signings. Yarmolenko. There was another guy that they signed as well for big money. And you think to yourself, you're signing these guys for big money, but none of them are actually any good. Or they don't seem to be able to produce when they get to West Ham. So I think for them, they've got enough centre backs and defensive players. I would be definitely looking at an attacker. I don't know who, but they definitely need one.
It is true. They do need an attacker. Double A, when we look at Newcastle, they've brought in Target so far. They've done so well the second half of the season. Probably the most overachieving side from January to the end of the season. First of all, Eddie Howe has done an amazing job. What do you do now? If you're Eddie Howe, what are you looking at? Where do you want to strengthen? Because they've got the spine sorted. What do you need now?
If you're Eddie Howe, especially how last season ended, you work with what you got, as you say, your spine, and then you build upon it. I think Nick Pope, I think that's going to be a great sign. Not to say that their other keeper isn't good. Because I think
Dubravka's decent,
but I do think Nick Pope's better than him. And for me, Nick Pope is the best English keeper around anyway, personally. So
better than Ramsdale.
Yes, for me, personally.
I think Ramsdale
was good. And I think Ramsdale has had a good season. But I think for me, from what I've seen from Nick Pope, I think Nick Pope is better. And Nick Pope's performed more consistently over the years. I just think because where Nick Pope's been, sometimes that gets overlooked a bit. And if he was at a better team, he probably would be. Well, you never know with Southgate, but he should be thinking.
Do you know what it is though with goalkeepers? Why does everybody love these flashy goalkeepers? Like, I don't want my goalkeeper to be flat. Like, I don't need Ramsdale turning around to the away fans and giving it all this. Like, just do your job. Just save the ball. Like, play consistent. And what Double A said, consistency. Nick Pope just goes about his job. Comes in, goes about his job, solid, secure. It might not be the best with his feet, but why do I need my goalkeeper to be good with his feet? All I need my goalkeeper to do is keep the ball out the net. And as for Pickford, don't even get me started on Jordan Pickford.
He's rubbish.
Like, not a chance. So let's do the same as we did before. We'll look at the clubs. I want to give you Liverpool and Manchester City. We're just going to go those two at first. So, Double A, one player for Liverpool, one player for Man City who you would bring in now at this point.
You know I'm going to say for Liverpool. That Bellingham, innit?
We're all going to say Bellingham for Liverpool. We need that player, though. In all honesty, would you have rather seen us, Double A, go for Jude Bellingham over Nunes? So if they went back and said, you know what, we can bring you Bellingham in, or Nkunku we've been speaking about a lot, you can bring one of those two in instead of Darwin Nunes, would you do that knowing that Sadio's just left?
Knowing that Sadio's just left, I would have went for Nkunku over Nunes. Just because I know a lot more about Nkunku than I know about Nunes. That's the only reason, personally. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that Nunes isn't going to be great for us, and all our big signings, I trust in Klopp now. I've questioned him before in the past, I won't lie. I questioned him with Mane when we bought him. I questioned him with Salah when we bought him because these are record signings for us, and they came up trumps. So I don't question him anymore in that sense. I don't question it anymore. But if you're going to ask me personally who I'd go for Nkunku over Nunez. I wouldn't have gone for Bellingham over Nunez, knowing that Mane's leaving. But I do want Bellingham there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we all want Bellingham there. I think if we got Bellingham, and even if we didn't win the league, if we didn't get a trophy, I would think, do you know what? The intent has been there, G. And that's all we're asking for as Liverpool fans. We want that intent to go and push. We're at the top now. We need that little bit extra. Season on season, we sign a good player. We always sign a good player. We want extra. Just give us that one season where you back us a little bit more, bring in that class, because then if we don't win, at least we can say, do you know what? The board backed us. Maybe we go back to the way we've done it before.
100%, man. Like, that's literally in a nutshell. It's not about, because everyone thinks that, when certain fans are asking for like a big money signing or a certain type of player, etc. We're not saying just because we get Bellingham we're going to win the league. That doesn't give us any more of a right to win the Premier League than it does without him.
Yeah.
It just gives us the best possible opportunity to do so. If we don't win it, we're just not good enough to win it. But that's fine. You can accept that. You don't want to accept the fact that you haven't done everything that you possibly could to even try to win it. That's what kills it all the time.
Yeah, it is. It's so hard being. We say it's so hard being a Liverpool fan. It's so good, AA, being a Liverpool fan. But then when you look back at this season, and I was saying to you, and I hold my hands up, I was like, no, do you know what? We've been in every single game, like unbelievable season. We've got there. Like, let's be happy about what we've done. But then weeks pass, and you look back, and it's like, at the time, I enjoyed being in every game. But I look back now, I'm a big historian. I love looking back at past whatever's happened. When we look back at this season, we're just going to forget about it. And that's the be-all and end-all, isn't it? Because we didn't get over the line in those last two games, and it was because of a lack of quality and depth in midfield, AA.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like what G said in our group chat yesterday about when you look back at it and you look at who won the league in 1993, no one remembers who came second. I can't even remember who won the league in 1993.
I was just going to say, who come first? Was that Blackburn's year?
It's definitely one of them two. But
that might have been Blackburn's year,
I think it was Blackburn's year.
Yeah, it could have been Blackburn, actually. I think Blackburn might have been 92, though. But anyway.
True.
But anyway, yeah, we don't remember who came second, basically. So, yeah, it's like we had a good season, but our season could have been so much better and so much more fulfilling, if that makes sense. It's like when you see some amazing like meal or dessert or something, you look at it and you think, yeah, that's really gonna top.
He's got too excited about the desserts, G. He got too excited about the desserts and the meals, and he thought, you know what? I better go get me something to eat. He'll be back in a second, though. I know G jumped off, AA jumped off. As long as mine doesn't cut out, the stream will keep going.
I think it was my phone overheated over the time. I don't know. It's so hot. It's so hot in here. Yeah,
we're bringing the heat on the show. That's what it is. So look at Man City.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you bring in if you're Man City? They're on about maybe Bernardo Silva leaving, Jesus, Sterling. Would you keep any of those three? So who out of those three would you keep? And what type of player do you think City should bring in? And you're not allowed to say Cucurella because he's probably going to come in anyway, and that's a great signing, by the way.
I was just about to actually say Cucurella, to be fair. You keep Bernardo Silva. Out of the three, he's probably the most important out of those three. I think with Sterling and Jesus, they're just more. They can find like 10 of those. They had Fernan Torres. They got Riyad Mahrez.
I want to see this Alvarez guy. I want to see what he can do.
He might be someone who might actually. He's going under the radar because they bought Haaland. He might outperform Haaland at some. We don't even know. We actually don't know. But I think they're lacking in, for me, with City, they're just lacking in, it sounds dumb, but they're lacking in like depth outside of the depth that they actually have. They're lacking
yeah.
depth. It's so weird. It's like they've got obviously players, for example, obviously you said Cucurella is obviously going to go to Man City probably. So that's the left-hand side. The right-hand side, they've got Cancelo and Carl Walker. In central defence, they've got John Stones, Ruben Diaz, and Laporte, and Nathan Ake. So if they don't get rid of anybody, they're good there. So you're looking at midfield where Fernandinho has now just obviously left. They're going to need someone to step in to just come in and play almost like a rotational kind of role at their alongside Rodri. So I think that's where they're going to be looking at. Who they buy, I don't even really know because they're such a weird team. Like they pick up players who you wouldn't really think are that good. Like Rodri, I never thought was that good at all. Cancelo, never thought was that good.
Is that testament then? Like Klopp brings the best out of players. We underrate Guardiola's actual managerial credentials.
Yeah.
He brings the best out of players and turns them into this different style of player. Cancelo, Rodri, Fernandinho, Kevin De Bruyne, even. He changes the way they play. When they come in, you think, oh, that guy's going to be a fancy player, creative. And he turns them into... Do you think he's an unbelievable manager and he doesn't get enough credit for that just because he has the finances?
Yeah, it probably does get a bit clouded in people's judgment of him because all they think about is... And I've said this before, like, this is why I don't really always bring... When it comes to Pep, I don't always like bringing the money into it because at the end of the day, yes, Pep's got money. Yes, he's able to spend, etc., etc. But ultimately, he's bringing in players who, like I said, relatively, they're good players, of course. Like they're not rubbish, but they're not top level players. Grealish is not a top level player. Mahrez is not a top level player. Gabriel Jesus weren't a top level player. Raheem Sterling, no. The only one maybe you could even throw in there was Aguero, and he was just known more at the time of when they signed him. Outside Fernandinho, Rodri, like all of these players, they're not like world-class players. Bernardo Silva, like these are just players who are on the cusp. Just like Liverpool, they're in their kind of prime. The only difference is they cost a bit more than the players that we buy. So people are always getting on to Pep Guardiola for spending. Do a bit of research and look at the players that he's actually buying. They're not of that level. He has to get them there, and he does it all the time.
No, I agree. I think Guardiola definitely goes under the radar what he offers
100%.
in terms of management. We've got Bogdan again, EAA, saying that he'd go for a PSG switch, Keita for Draxler. No, I know you were going to say no, but let me just drop this in there, right? Naby Keita, decent player. He's hit and miss. Shouldn't have the number 8, if we're all honest. Now, we're looking for this creative player. Draxler, mentality-wise, that's why we're saying no. He thinks he's big time when he's not. But coming to Liverpool, Klopp could potentially get that side out of him. He can play left, right, through the middle, central midfield. Would you AA maybe be open to a PSG Keita for Draxler? Because there's not much risk in it, really, is there?
I'm going to say no.
Ooh.
I don't think there's that much risk in it, but if you look at how our midfield works, I don't really think that Draxler's got enough bite in his game to really make a difference. I think Draxler actually is one of those players that's better in the sort of like number 10 role or like on the flanks from what I've seen of him. But I just think Draxler, like, he's been at PSG too long where he doesn't play enough and whatever else. And I think his career's just gone like a little bit stagnant or stale. And I kind of think he's past it. That's why I say no, to be honest. I'd rather Gundogan. Much rather Gundogan.
Yes, I would Gundogan. And Bogdan did say that. Gundogan from City. Gundogan's a top-class player. Played with Klopp before, looking for a new challenge. He'd offer something different to Liverpool. So, potentially. I want to pin this because our very own JJ, the Jerry James Show, I'd sign Neves, you know, Tielemans, etc. Now, keep that to the back of your mind because what I'm going to let you do, any of those highlighted teams, Liverpool, City, United, Newcastle, Tottenham, West Ham, you can choose any team and sign whichever player you think would be the best fit for that team. So you might choose a Neves, you might choose a Tielemans. One thing I'll tell you cannot do is say Bellingham to Liverpool. That's out of bounds because we've already touched on that one. So, G, we'll go with you. You've already said Lautaro Martinez to Arsenal. So let's see who you're bringing into what club.
Manchester United should sign Neves. I think they should sign Neves. They do not have any central midfielders who you would call remotely good, not even close to remotely good. Like you're playing McFred in the middle, like that tells you everything you need to know. So yeah, I think if they signed a Neves and Tielemans, to be honest, I feel like that would be a good little pivot for them. To be fair, so yeah, I would go with Neves for Man United.
Double A.
It is tough. I'm just thinking that, I'm just thinking of every single team, and like I ain't got stuck on one. If I'm gonna go for, let's see, I'd actually go for Man United as well, but it's just a player I'm just trying to think. It just doesn't come off. I think Man United. Position,
what are you thinking they
I'm
need?
looking at midfield, but I'm looking at more of a defensive midfielder.
Declan Rice was someone in my mind. And I know,
but you know what? I don't really rate Rice like that.
I know you don't rate Declan Rice, but think of a mentality aspect. You know Rice is going to give you 100%. He doesn't rate himself as this kind of elite, above everybody else player. He'll go in there, he'll work hard. He's worked alongside Mark Noble, who is one of the ultimate professionals. I think just on a mentality basis, him and McTominay, I think, could be a good partnership in the middle for United next season.
No, McTominay has to come out as well. Do you know who I'll go for? But I'm not sure. But I don't really think it's realistic. I would say Joshua Kimmich, to be honest.
Okay.
Joshua, but I don't think it's realistic.
Goretzka's another one.
Yeah, or Goretzka. I was going to say Goretzka as well, but I'd say Kimmich more because he would just give them a bit more still and defensive cover that they need, and a bit more class, and just they need one of the kind of guys with that German kind of mentality.
Yeah, Kimmich can go to right back as well.
They're trying to get De Jong to Barcelona, so
I think but all right. See,
that's not the type they need.
De Jong would be good, but De Jong doesn't. He don't really want to go there.
No, it doesn't.
Stuff that's coming out, it's kind of clear he doesn't want to go there. And to push to get him now, when you know he doesn't really want to go there, that's not the kind of player that Man United need in their midfield right now.
No,
They need someone that actually wants to be there and is going to make these guys fix up. He's going to be a bit like, I don't think you've got those kind of players now, but they need like a kind of Vieira or Roy Keane, someone who's going to shout at these guys, maybe rough them up in the changing room a bit. And
that's why I'm saying Rice. I think maybe Rice is the modern day.
That kind of character.
No, I agree. I think that's a good shout. They definitely need that holding midfield, 100%. They need that muscle in midfield, someone who's going to drive, someone who's going to whip Maguire into shape, but also start your attack from the back.
Yeah, but also a leader.
Yeah, that's it.
A proper, I would say not a proper, but because they're all kind of leaders, but not a leader like I would say. All right, because you would say a lot of people probably say that Cristiano Ronaldo is a leader, but Cristiano Ronaldo is a leader. He's a different kind of leader, and he's not. If you say leader, I don't think he's a leader, and I think he's a bit more for himself than the team. You want someone that is just going to be all about the team. They're going to sacrifice themselves to the team. The way they play, they sacrifice themselves to the team, and they lead by that example. They're not about individual glory. That's the kind of player that Man United needs, I feel.
And that's why some players go for 100 million, because trying to find someone like that is difficult. To come in and be your captain straight away in a team that's got Ronaldo in, that is a difficult thing. But United are going to have to do it. They're going to have to spend big again. Right, I want to move to the last part now. We've got a little segment that we like to call Tip Top Flop. So, Tip Top Flop, what we're going to do, we're going to start with Double A because Double A is first on the list. Double A, one player that would be your tip. So one of the transfers we spoke about, one that's a tip to be successful, like a wild card. Your top one would be someone who's guaranteed to fly this season. And your third one would be someone who's just going to flop. So let's get Double A's picks on. Here we have them. So Double A went with Carvalho as his tip, Haaland as his top, and Turner, is it, as your flop? Am I right? In Turner as your flop? So go on, Double A. Explain why you chose these three.
Carvalho, just from what I've seen, and he's obviously not going to be a guaranteed starter, but I think he showed enough in what he's done at Fulham to suggest that when he does come and play, he can make a difference, and I think he will surprise people in certain games. You think, right, actually, this guy, he's got a bit about him, and right, he did that. He scored that goal, or he did that pass, or the way he beat those players. Like he's got that he's got that extra bit in his game to excite you. That's why I've gone for him. Haaland, well, you guys know how I feel about Haaland, man. I just think he's like a top player, and I think
he is elite. There's a guarantee.
No matter what people say with him, if he's going to fit into Manchester City system or not, he's going to get chances, and he's going to score these chances because he's that clinical. So that's why I've gone for him guaranteed. And the flop, I've gone for Turner because, all right, for one, he's not going to dislodge Ramsdale. I don't even know why they really went for him. I don't know why.
When they had Leno as well, like it doesn't make sense to me.
And I don't trust American goalkeepers. No offense to America or whatever.
Tim Howard, how dare you? Bad Friedel, Liverpool legend.
I don't trust them at all. Even Friedel, like, because you know what? Funny enough, when we had Friedel, I think Friedel was rubbish. But when he went to Blackburn and other teams, he was good.
Yeah, he was at Blackburn.
He wasn't good. For us, he wasn't good. And I
looked like Skeletor. Do you know Skeletor with off what was it? What's the character? He-Man, that's it. He looked like Skeletor, that was it. Friedel, He-Man. I love this. So you tip top flop Carvalho, Haaland, Turner. Carvalho, Double A, do you think that he's your tip because it's just money well spent again from Liverpool? Even if he doesn't succeed, we're probably going to recuperate some money just because of his age, just because of his name and the talent surrounding him. To get him in for such a low price is kind of a no-brainer, isn't it? Like, you might as well go for it.
Yeah, but I'm not going on the financial aspects. I'm just going off the player that he is, and in the stat chart of what he can do to our team. Because as I say, he's not going to be a guaranteed starter, so it's not like you're going to see him necessarily play week in, week out. But if you do see him playing week in, week out, you know he's doing something really good because Klopp, one of the managers, he will play. Like, it doesn't matter of your age. He will, if you're doing your bits, he will play you. So,
yeah, I agree with you in that. The tip, I think that's Haaland as well. Nailed on. He's guaranteed wherever he plays. He could go to West Ham. He could go to any team and get goals. That's just Haaland's a goal machine, and he's a top class player. G, let's see who we've gone for. So, G. He's gone with Carvalho as well, on the same wavelength, but he's gone Tottenham. I think G's a secret Arsenal fan, you know. He's gone Tottenham, Bissouma is his top, but he's gone flop with Perisic. G, explain your decisions.
The tip, kind of the same as Double A. I think he's just going to, Carvalho's going to have one of those seasons where he will just surprise us, I think. And he's a good player, and he's going kind of under the radar, obviously, because we signed Nunes and stuff like that. But I think I've got trust in Carvalho a bit more, and I've been starting to watch him, his performances last season. I've watched a few over the last couple of days, and I'm like, you know what? If anybody's going to come in and have an impact, he could be one of those players who just comes in under the radar. All of a sudden, he starts starting games, and you don't even notice until he drops out of a game, and you're like, "Oh, where's Carvalho?" And then I think that's when it will start to click in that, yeah, he might just potentially work his way into the first team squad ahead of players like Jones and Harvey Elliott kind of thing. So he's definitely the one. Basuma, I feel like he would be. The reason why I put him top is because I would have gone Haaland. He's the other one. He's the only other player I could think of. But Spurs needed someone in the middle because obviously they've let Ndombele. I don't know if he's gone or where he's at the moment, but they needed someone in the middle. They needed Ndombele to be Ndombele, but because he's not being Ndombele, they kind of need someone else to kind of do that role. And I feel like Basuma, from what I've seen of him over the last couple of seasons, he fits that mold. He brings the ball forward very well. He's very good defensively. He can pick out a pass. He's very good, like very energetic. And I feel like he does that box to box, but when he does get into those attacking areas, he's still silky with it. He can still, do his thing when he gets there. And Perisic, everyone thinks this guy's going to be a good player because he's Perisic and he played for Inter Milan. And you wait until he gets burned by these flipping wingers, left and right. I don't care where he plays. I don't care what he does. I can only see this guy flopping and he won't play as many games. And you're going to soon see he wasn't even all that anyway. I've never rated Perisic.
I find it mad that they've bought Perisic, and I love how Double A G comes with the finger. G means business when he comes with the finger to Perisic. I don't know where he's going to play. Like Reguilon is a bad boy at left back. Like I rate Reguilon. So is Perisic going to play left wing? But then you've got Heung-min Son. Like you're not gonna take Son out of the team for him to play higher up. So where's Perisic going to fit in the Double A? Has Conte got something up his sleeve?
I think Perisic is going to be a squad player. The thing with Perisic, though, I do rate Perisic, and I think he's a good player. The thing with Perisic is that he could flop, and I was actually going to go for him, but I just think that the Arsenal one that I picked is more guaranteed to be a flop. The thing with Perisic is that he is a quick player, but you're going to arguably the fastest league in Europe or the fastest of the top leagues in Europe. So, and you're getting older. So have you declined a bit, or are you going to be able to keep up that pace? Because Italy's not as quick, and you look quick in Italy, but as I say, it's not England, for one. Two, it's a lot more physical as well. In that sense, Italy's physical as well, but it's physical in a different, like in a faster sort of sense. And I'm not sure, if Perisic is ready for that. And then the competition he's going to get as well. Because you've got Song that plays on the flanks. You've got Lucas Moura, who seems to be a Tottenham favourite. You've got Bergwijn, who I think is a good player. He's just as done play as well.
He's leaving.
As well. Who else they got?
On the wings, they've got Moura. Did you mention Moura?
Yeah, I mentioned Moura, They got someone else as well.
Kulusevski.
They got Kulusevski as well. And he's slotted right in, and he's been playing really well for them. So if you look at it now, actually, where does he even play? Because
is Lo Celso coming back, or was he sold? Is he on loan? I'm sure he's on loan at Villarreal.
I don't know, but Lo Celso would be down the
pecking order.
Definitely, But they're going to play that. If you look at Tottenham now, you can't really see him dislodging Kulusevski, Son. He can't play central, so he's not going to dislodge Kane either. So, as you say, is he going to play left back or right back or whatever? And they're going to try and mold him into that kind of Ashley.
He can't hack the right wingers in that in England. I'm sorry. Like, we think he's going to do good because his name is Perisic. I promise you're going to see this guy get completely outworked. You're going to see him falling over half the time. Just wait and see. Watch Perisic.
I agree. I think Perisic, 3 seasons ago, Perisic was a Man United player. He should have gone to United 3 seasons ago. Now, it's kind of, why? It's the end of his career. Like, Tottenham are on the rise, in my opinion. And it's just kind of, it might be one of those where it makes everybody else go, oh, Tottenham have signed Perisic for Tottenham, rather than actually being substantial. Yeah, that's it. Right, I'm going to move on to the final one, my tip-top flop. So my tip-top flop, I've gone with Diego Carlos at Aston Villa for my tip. I've gone top Darwin. I can't believe You've done us dirty, not chose Darwin Núñez anywhere, but you went Carvalho, so I'll let you both off. And then flop, I've gone Fabio Vieira. Like, who is this guy? So let me talk Diego Carlos first. Steven Gerrard again showing intent. This guy, you look at Mings and Konsa, those two on paper are such good names. I think they're two good defenders in their own right. Double A's eyebrows have just risen because I think Tyrone, I think it might be the Mings comment, but I think
It's definitely the Mings.
They can do a job at that level. So if you're looking at mid-table to kind of European places, that's where Mings and Konsa kind of fit as a duo.
Yeah.
I think bringing Carlos in pushes them for European places. That's the position they needed to secure. They were leaky last season. They were conceding lots of goals, but they were dangerous in attack. Do you think Double A Carlos will shore up that squad and help them push for European places? And whose place do you think Steven Gerrard will give to Carlos?
Well, he should give him Mings his place if you ask me.
He should do. He should do, but you know he's not going to.
But Mings, being the English guy, will probably keep his role. And I think he's a Villa favourite at the same time.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. I do think Carlos he's a good defender. And I'm surprised teams of a better stature haven't tried to go to him, to be honest. So I think he's a really good signing for Villa. And I kind of think maybe he's gone under the radar. Maybe people don't think he's as good as he has been in previous seasons and stuff. So I agree with you. That is quite a good tip, to be fair. What I would say is that with Villa, the defense, it was leaky, but I think it does put a little bit of pressure on Gerrard because, as you said earlier, he didn't have a great end to the season.
No.
And if you look at the way they just got, like, all right, I'm not blaming them for it because
I'm blaming them for it.
Anyway, I didn't think they were going to win the match anyway. But the way they capitulated against Man City in that time,
that was embarrassing, man.
That was madness. It doesn't even matter.
5 minutes as well. It's not like
madness.
Yeah, it's not like half time and then the second half they kind of put 5 minutes. You can't go throwing a 2-0 lead away.
Yeah,
5 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that is embarrassing.
And there were tap-ins like Gundogan's goals. It's not like they were like bad marking. It wasn't like they've just done something amazing. You're like, oh, hands up. There's nothing you could do. Like, it's just an amazing goal. The way they just carved them and sliced them open, like, it's because Man City are capable of that. Nah, it wasn't even like that.
Yeah.
It's just they just let in one goal and they just fell apart.
They did capitulate. You knew it was coming, though. You watched it, and I knew it was coming. 2-0. As soon as it went 2-1, I turned around and said, it's game over because City are going to win this. They're just going to come back and win.
You just knew.
Yeah. Darwin Núñez, G. I'm excited about this. And I know there's some mixed opinions amongst the group, amongst Liverpool fans, because we're kind of unsure who he is. I'm telling you now. Where's my finger? I'm telling you now, G, that Darwin Núñez is going to be a bigger success with Liverpool than Haaland will be for Man City. I'm telling you now.
Before you continue,
Go on.
When you say a bigger success, what do you mean by that?
I like how he's pulled me up on that one because I could come back at the end of the season and go, well, Liverpool fans like Darwin Núñez more than Man City fans like. I think fitting in with the system that we play and improving the team. Okay. So I think Núñez is going to improve our team more than Haaland will improve Man City. I don't think there's any improving to be had at Man City, if I'm honest.
Not
I
really.
think Haaland has been brought in, like JJ said yesterday, for those games, for those Champions League finals, for those crucial moments to get those goals. Because if you look, Jack Grealish, Sterling, Fernandinho, those misses are what lost Man City the Champions League, if we're honest.
100%.
They should have been in that final. So I wish they were because we would have beat Man City. Anyway, I think Núñez changes our style of play for the better. I think we're more threatening as a possessional team, more threatening as a counter-attacking team. I just think that Man City's goals will be distributed, whereas Núñez is going to add a bit of bite, a bit of spark to our team, and that's why I put Nunes in there. What would you agree, or
no?
What are you saying about Nunes?
When you say it like that, then it was just to kind of understand what you meant in terms of the player being more successful, but you're talking about in terms of him coming into the team, implementing, I guess, a new formation, maybe potentially that might be something we might do, hopefully. But no, I agree then. Okay, I can agree with you there then. I think that will happen though, because Man City don't really require much improvement, as you said. Like, they're already a sick team, so getting in Haaland just allows you to shore things up, to be honest with you.
No, I agree with that. Double A, do you think this Nunes signing is a good signing for Liverpool, or do you think there's a lot of pressure on it just because it's a record transfer fee?
I do think it's a good signing, but I do think there is a lot of pressure on him simply because of the price tag, him being our top signing, and two, because of Mane leaving.
Yeah. Because
of that, people are going to look, I think, especially from the outside in, they're going to look more, well, he's basically, even though it didn't happen, like, it didn't seem like it was happening like that anyway, they're going to say he's the guy that replaced Mane. So what is he bringing to the table? But I think, do you know what? I think him and Haaland is the same, to be honest. And I think, you see, the thing from what I see from Nunes, if we play the same way that we've been playing, just for the player that he is, he's an aerial threat. He's more of a target. So
you've been asking for this as well.
He's going to make
asked
that
for a player like this, Double A, last season,
yeah,
didn't you?
Yeah. So for me, that's why it is a good signing. But then I think the same with City. If you really look at it, City haven't really got a target man either, and now they have. Because you can say about Grealish, Sterling, and all these, but they really target men. They miss chances that they shouldn't miss with their feet, that probably Haaland would take as well. But he gives them a different threat. Haaland definitely gives them a different aerial threat than what they previously had.
Yeah.
So
and De Bruyne, where we've got Trent, De Bruyne has never had to play that pass before, but De Bruyne has got that inside right channel whipped round in between the full-back and the centre-back. He's got that ball on lock all day, just like Trent does. And I'm telling you now, De Bruyne, Haaland, I would not be surprised if this season, top assist, top goal scorer, because that's going into the season thinking we've got to play against De Bruyne and Haaland in the same team. That's a scary prospect.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a good season. It's going to be fun. And Fabio Vieira, to finish the show off, just look at him, man. Just look. Like,
you're giving him no respect whatsoever.
He's getting no respect. He's my flop because have you even played international football before? Anybody can come into this league with a reputation, but he looks like a rabbit in a headlights just in that photo. It's like, how have I got this gig at this club? You look at Carlos and he's like, I'm ready. I'm here. I'm in the Premier League. I'm ready to go. Fabio Vieira is just going to get run over. They're going to play in a North London derby. And I'm telling you now, Yves Bissouma is going to snap him in half. And then when that happens, he's just going to cry wolf. Xhaka will come on, get a red card, and then Arsenal fans are going to kick off yet again. I can see it now. Double A, I can see it. Arsenal this season, I'm going for 8th place.
Right?
Nah.
You think they'll finish 8th?
Honestly, I think Arsenal are going to finish 8th place this season.
So who finishes in the 3 places above them?
He's putting me on the spot right now.
Just
so
3. Just the 3 places above.
You've got
so
West Ham in there.
5th. Yeah.
Aston Villa, I think, are going to go above them. I think Aston Villa are going to be in there. Do you know who I'm rating this season? I think we're going to get a surprise from a Brighton or a Wolves. I think one of those teams are going to surprise us. But when you look at United,
Arsenal?
But you look at United, Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool, City. That's 5 teams.
Okay.
So then you've got Aston Villa, Leicester, Wolves, Brighton, all these teams who I think there's possibility to finish above Arsenal.
Arsenal fans, you heard it. You heard him say it. I'm just letting you know.
You've heard it here.
You heard it.
8th place. Telling you now.
Did you put money on that?
You know what I'm going to? You've marked my words now.
You know what? Actually, no. Don't. I'll have a bet with you.
Okay.
I'll bet you a tenner. Arsenal finish
Above 8th.
Nah, that's too easy. I think they'll do that anyway. I bet you a tenner. I bet you a tenner that Arsenal finish. I think I won't go that far. I think they'll finish in the top 5. I think they'll finish Europa League place next season.
Not a chance. I'm taking that bet all day. They are not finishing top 5.
You heard it here, guys.
No chance. So are we going like top 5 or below? So if they finish below 5th, am I getting this cash here then?
Yeah, if they finish below that, then it's yours. I think they'll finish 5th or higher.
Happy days. I'll take that money all day. All day. You heard it here, Double A. You are the adjudicator. You're the bailiff. So when G doesn't pay up, I want you going round, knocking on his door and getting that £10.
I'm going to delete my number anyway, so don't even worry about it.
Yeah, he's going to delete his number. That's it. He knows he's made a mistake already. But, guys...
pennies, man. Get a penny job.
That's it. Save up the penny jar. That was Tip Top Flop. And what a great show. A great way to end our first ever Prem Heads. It went on for a while. We had some dropping out, dropping in. But you know what? At the end of the day, great show. I can't wait to do this every week. Imagine what it's going to be like when the season starts. We're going to come next week with a fun game for you next week. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want everyone to be surprised. So please tune in next week. But make sure you're following Double A. Make sure you're following G. Keeping it G, Double A Sports, and make sure you're subscribing to Klopp Zone because we are bringing you so many shows, another 2 shows today. So please stay tuned. But fellas, it's been a pleasure. Until next time, you'll never walk alone.
Boom.
Peace.
Boom.